everyone, Board Game Brody here with Meeple Mountain. I have a prototype copy of Loot Dispute. It's an I cut and choose card game by Gold Seal Games. And now before I start explaining this game, I'd like to ask you if you would like this video, but more importantly, subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. It's something easy for you to do, and it really helps us out here at the channel. Now let's get right into this game. You can see that it's set up here on the table. Players play as villagers or townsfolk who have gone out to explore a dungeon after a group of heroes have already dispatched all of the monsters. There is leftover treasure and items that you can collect, but you will have to split them with your fellow townsfolk, or at least agree on who gets what. The game is set up a little bit differently depending on the number of players in the game, and the game supports 2 to 4 players. So the game plays over 5 rounds, and your object is to gain the most points possible. You do this by collecting items and treasures each round and matching them with merchant cards that determine how your items will score. So you're not just looking for the coolest items out there, even though that's cool. You're trying to get items that match your merchant cards that will grant you the most points. So here is how the game plays. You will flip over the first card in the dungeon deck. These cards are double-sided and are mixed with additional layouts for you to play during the game. But the card that you flip over, you will then place out the treasure cards in the shape shown on that dungeon card. These cards are placed face up so players can see the items unless it shows on that dungeon card a red space. This card is kept face down. No one will know what it is until they collect it. So now pretty much on your turn, you will be able to choose to divide a group of cards into 2 groups, dividing them apart using a straight line or a seam. This can be done horizontal or vertical. You don't have to split a group up if you don't want to. And at the beginning of the round, there's only one big group. But as the game progresses, you can pick any of the group of cards to divide. If you divide a group of cards that has another player's standee on it, then that standee is returned to that player. After dividing or not dividing, you will choose to place your standee on one of the groups of cards to try to claim it. It's not yours yet. If it comes back to your turn and your character is still on those group of treasures, instead of splitting cards and making a new group or placing your standee down, you will instead collect all the treasures that your standee is on, placing them in separate rows or columns in front of you according to their color. After collecting your treasures, you will then choose a merchant. Each round, there are a number of merchant cards equal to the number of players playing in the game plus 1. So since these cards dictate how your treasures are scored, sometimes you might want to be the first to grab one of these cards, but you will have to place your standee on a group of cards that the other players won't break up. So some strategy in the game. Each merchant card will be assigned to one group of cards of the same color in your collection, while other merchant cards that are actually called patron cards are not assigned to a color but will score points according to all of your cards. If you don't ever get a patron card during the game, then you will have 5 merchant cards total, each assigned to a color, and there are 6 colors in the game. And you cannot assign more than 1 merchant card to a color. If you don't have a group of cards of the same color to assign a merchant to, when you gain it, you'll place it to the side, and whenever you gain a card of a new color, it will be assigned to that merchant card. So since these merchant cards are almost the most important thing in the game to get a good score, let's check some of these out. Remember, each card will score only a group of cards of 1 color. This merchant card will score groups of cards each with a different size. 3 items will score 9 points and 2 items will score 4 points. This one will score a group of cards in the same color as their size, all 3s together and all 2s together and all 1s together. This one, by the sum of all your cards. This one will score for each card you have of that assigned color to another card of the shown color. This one will score depending on the number of items that you get. Let's check out some of the patron cards now. This one will score you 6 points for each set that you make, 1 of each color forming a set. This one will score you 2 points times the number of players playing in the game for each color that you have the most of. This one will award you 2 points for each size 1 items that you have of any color. So you can see how some of the patron cards can overlap with some of the merchant cards to form a good scoring opportunity. After 5 rounds in the game, you will calculate your points from your merchant and patron cards, and whoever has the most points wins the game. Now, this is the ultimate older brother or older sister game. Your parents say you have to share, and you will figure out how to split something up without one getting mad about it. Well, you just need to trick your younger brother or sister into thinking a group is better than what it is, or that the group of cards that you want are not what they want. You might do this in the game by going after a large group of cards that you don't even want, knowing they won't let you get away with taking that many cards, and then attacking the cards that you really want. There are so many different strategies that you can use in the game to try to get the cards that you want. So summon your older sister or your older brother and yourself, or maybe your strategy is to be the little brother or little sister and be even trickier to get what you want. You will want certain cards, but you will also want to try to get the most cards that you can. So that also adds into your strategy and the game decisions. Ultimately, this is a spin on the I cut and you choose, because this one is I cut and I choose. Now, will you let me have what I claimed, or do we need to redivide things out? It's a game of knowing when to let another player take what they claimed so that you can get something even better after they are out of the picture. You will be watching each player and seeing what they might get, and you will be keeping tabs on each of them, battling for items that you want, trying to balance between getting the most cards that you want or that you can versus cards that will really help you score points. The more cards, the higher your chances are to get points, but that's not always true because you want certain cards with your merchant cards. But dispute the loot with your family and friends in Loot Dispute by Gold Seal Games. Again, this is Board Game Brody. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around and check out some other board game reviews to see what you might want to get to the table.